Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar from ISEG MBA. I'm Paulo Carvalho. I'm the Executive Director of the ISEG MBA. It's a pleasure to be with you here. To be honest, it's the first webinar that we are going to make for the next edition of our MBA that will start in September next year. So it's really a pleasure to welcome you all. I'm going to, first of all, and even before presenting the MBA and the structure, the redesign that we have made, the main feature of the MBA, I'm going to explain a little bit what is behind this, what we believe it's a really innovative, visionary, different kind of MBA that we have here at ISEG. So thank you so much for coming to attend this webinar. We are going to record the webinar so others that are not able to attend will be able to see and will explore more in depth what is our MBA. So I'm going to share my screen in order to make a brief presentation, and you can also put some questions on the chat. And I will try to answer some of those questions in the end of this short presentation. So let me share my screen so that I can just explain briefly what is our ISEG MBA. So first of all, basic and very basic things about the program. As you know, this is an executive MBA, so basically it's for people that wants to continue to work. Although we have a lot of people and a lot of part of our attendees and our participants are people that just decide to focus during this, or at least part of the period in this experience. But it's clearly made for people that wants to continue to work. So it's one of the reasons why the classes happens on the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. After work hours, so from 6:30 to 10:30, 11 p.m. And basically it has that kind of a segmentation and focus. It takes 18 months, so it's a 1 year and a half program. And it has all the features that you can expect from an MBA, but also others that makes this more like a 360 degrees program that will give you clearly different kind of tools, of competencies, skills, concepts that we strongly believe that are and will be the next generation of MBAs that you are going to see into the future. So the first thing that I want to explain to you, this is we have this tagline, which is beyond the future, but it's clearly about the future. And to be honest, it's more about futures and about futures because we are living in a world, and it's not because of the pandemic, but we are living in a world that has a very specific features that we all know we use in our current and daily discourse. So we know that we are in a VUCA world, so a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world. But what kind of critical uncertainties do you identify in your work, in your industry, in your own life? And how do you deal with the complexity and this kind of ambiguity in which you make sense in a very different way of different kind of situations? So what is VUCA and how are you preparing for this kind of a VUCA world that you are living in? The second thing is that it's not just the technology that is accelerating, it's the reality that is in a fast mode, is accelerating on a daily basis. And we are living in a very clear increasing convergence world. So what kind of tools, what kind of a language, what kind of concepts should we have in order to be useful, to be relevant, to work, to be competitive in this kind of accelerating and VUCA world? And finally, we are all having this kind of a massive migration for a digital and a virtual world. And to be honest, I have this virtualization migration here in this kind of presentation long before this new buzzword that we are now having with the metaverse and this restructuration of Facebook, but we are moving towards the digital world for a couple of years. The pandemic just accelerated this movement, so we need to embrace this digital world, and we need to be prepared for these kind of changes. And probably we need to think about what kind of a virtual world, what kind of a metaverse are we going to embrace into the future. So this is the basic concept that we can expect, and we are living. And don't expect these to go back to the past or to somehow slow into the future. Now the trend is clear. This is going to be this way. This is going to be a massive trend. So we all, on an individual and on an organizational level, we need to be prepared to work, to live, to be relevant, to survive in this kind of environments. And so this was the first basic context that somehow guided the transformation, and to be honest, a significant part of our MBA that I'm going to explain briefly. So if we can see different kind of driving forces that are impacting all of us in this kind of a spectrum, you can see that on the left, you can see like massive global forces, megatrends and trends, things that you can identify, that you can work with. Eventually, you can have this risk management. You can evaluate the probability of something to happen in a specific direction. But if you look on the right, and if you believe that we are living in a VUCA world, we need to embrace and face uncertainty. We need to be prepared for weak signal, things that are in a very emergent state, but can somehow be amplified and become really important. And we are in a pandemic. So 2 years ago, if someone just told you that we were going to live in this kind of a situation, the probability that you probably would take to that kind of a forecast would be almost zero. But it happened, and those are what we call wildcards, so very low probability events and situations. But if it happens, it changes completely the way that we work, the way that we live, the way that we explore, and the way that we interact with each other. And so if you look at this spectrum, on the left, it's your daily basis, your work as usual. It's the way that you somehow try to fulfill a strategy, the strategy or the vision of your company. So really based on execution, optimization, operation. And to be honest, the majority of the resources and the time that are allocated to these represents almost the majority of the full resources that you can identify in an organization. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. You need to execute, you need to optimize in order to be able to fulfill a specific strategy, a vision, whatever. And this comes also with a short-term pressure. But if you believe that we are living in a VUCA world with this kind of uncertainty, so you need also to embrace, you need also to work on the other side of this equation. So you need to face uncertainty, face disruption, be innovative, create new avenues of growth. And although this is clear and it makes all the sense, there is a high tension between these two worlds that coexist in our individual lives, in our careers, in our organizations, in our industries. So it's not an easy way to solve this, but there is one thing that it's clear. We need to work on this kind of ambivalence approach in order to be able to maintain our companies, our strategy, our business models, and this is mandatory. And so it was with this kind of approach that we believe that we need to have this kind of holistic approach to the future. So if you look into the future, we need to have this kind of an holistic approach. We need to embrace this kind of global forces. We call these megatrends. You will see that during the MBA, we have a couple of partners from the World Economic Forum, from the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, that are going to show you how can you explore this kind of megatrends that are so important and will affect all of you in very different ways. So how can you make use of megatrends? How can you make use of global forces, of trends? So inside each one of these megatrends, you can identify specific insights and trends. How can you use these, for example, to build scenarios? And we use those scenarios to design new strategies or new services, new products, new concepts, new experiences. And this will be a specific part of our programs. Really, MBA focus on the future and the way that you can explore and take the best out of the future and not be afraid or freeze, because the future is really uncertain and is approaching in a fast way. So in a nutshell, the ISEG MBA, if you look at the ISEG MBA, one of the things, it's from MBA, and the ISEG, it's the Faculty of Economics and Management from the University of Lisbon, but we strongly believe that as in every part of all industries, of all sectors and areas, we need to work in networks. We need to have a stakeholders approach. And this is what we are doing. And as you probably already know, we have a couple of really important partners from the World Economic Forum, the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, the University of San Francisco, our twin faculty from the University of Lisbon, which is the biggest and the most important engineering school in Portugal, is the Técnico Lisboa, Startup Lisboa, that is one of the main actors in this entrepreneurial scene ecosystem that are emerging strongly in Lisbon. The Volkswagen Software Development Center is also one of our partners. The Air Force Academy, and also a very specific and amazing company that's called WIT Company. It works on the design thinking, strategic design approach and strategies, and it's going to bring this kind of areas and tools to the program. So we are the ISEG, we are ISEG, but we have this kind of different kind of partnerships and stakeholders. If you look to the program in a nutshell, you will see that as any faculty or in every MBA, you will see that there are a couple of core or mandatory courses. So the functional areas: finance, marketing, strategy, operations, human resources, organizational culture. And then on the top, on the right, you will see another areas that are almost present in every MBA. So economics for managers, financial accounting, management information systems, control systems. So we have all of these in what we call the core courses. And this is where we have our faculty, our researchers. So the most important part of what ISEG and our professors and our faculty has to offer are here. So we have our best teachers and faculty in these areas that are part of the DNA of ISEG. The second thing that is becoming important and present in every program, any MBA, which is this kind of a very applied learning approach. So we want all of you to explore, to design business plans, business models. We have a couple of business simulations on the marketing and also on a management as a more general thing. And of course, the last 6 months of this MBA, you will be involved in what we call a capstone project. So it will be your opportunity to eventually start a new business, start a new project, or to have the experience of what is that you need to know to have this kind of entrepreneurial mindset, to explore and know how to design a new project, a new business idea, and to take these to a stage where you can present to investors, to other founders, etc. But to be honest, the three areas that we completely changed 2 years ago and are becoming, at least in our opinion, the backbone of a new kind of a program that we call MBAs of the future. It's the leadership and personal development, the immersive experiences, and we have 3 immersive experiences, and the strategic streams. What are these strategic streams? In a very short way, in a very synthetic way, is the way that we came up with areas, clusters, we call these streams, that encapsulate some of the trends, some of the insights, some of the new megatrends in some cases, and global changes that are somehow transforming our lives, our economies, our society, our profile as leaders and workers and all of this industry. So, and this is the way that we believe that we can integrate these into this program. So I will explain in a very brief way what are these 5 strategic streams. So in a very brief way, I'm going to focus on the leadership and personal development and also on the experiences, just to mention what are those 3 experiences, and also on what are these, what we call 5 strategic streams. One of the main changes and one of the areas that are core to the program, and they are transversal to the program, so this will happen throughout the entire program, is what we call the leadership and personal development. And what is this kind of it has 3 layers. The first one is the leadership journey. So, and there is a sequence in which, if you can see it here, so we have a couple of models, so emotional drivers and performance, mindfulness, which is becoming really important, the way that you can also be aware of your mind, of the way that you should focus, because in this kind of a world, you need to know yourself much better than probably you had in the past. So we start with this kind of idea that even before you have the skills and the capability to lead others and to lead teams, you need to know yourself better or very well. So we start with this kind of, you need to lead yourself. And then, of course, this the leading others. So how can you create impact in others? So these are more the soft skills that you can see in every program. So we have all of that on communication, influence, empathy, negotiation, persuasion. So these are the block in which we have this kind of soft skills. And then we go to how can we transfer this kind of capabilities in order for you as a leader to manage teams. And eventually, in the end, the main purpose is for you to lead the change as a whole in an organization. So how can you implement and lead the change in a broader sense? So this is and this will happen throughout the 18 months. The second layer is what we call the personal development plan. And the personal development plan is something that is becoming a cornerstone also of the program. And we start these with a very detailed and important assessment that is made by the Cast of Reed Institute, which is one of the most important institutions that makes this kind of 360 degrees assessment that goes beyond your professional life, but also integrates and includes your personal life. So, and this is a very detailed, and you will start with an onboarding on throughout this kind of assessment. And then the assessment will be somehow the guiding for different kind of coaching sessions that will touch in different areas that we believe will be important for you to change, to improve. And the purpose is, in the end of this MBA, you have like, you should have like a signature as a leader. And this is what we really want. We want you to have your own style, your own signature, your own profile as a leader. The third layer that you can see here is something, it's really important, is the way that we connect with the market, is the way that we connect with companies, and it's the way that we try to improve the way that you can think and manage your own career. And here we will have different kind of activities with workshops and mentoring sessions, and talking with founders, talking with CEOs. We will have like a one-to-one sessions with the most important human resources, recruiting and headhunters companies, so that you can, even if you don't want to change your career, or even if you don't want to change company, and there are a lot of our participants that they just want to maintain their careers in the company where they are, but they want to improve, of course. So it serves all these two purposes: people that want to change and people that want to maintain and improve inside the company where they are today. So it's something really important, and it's the third layer of this kind of a leadership and personal development plan that we have throughout the MBA. So the second thing that is becoming really distinctive in our program is this, what we call immersive experiences. So we will start with a boot camp in the Air Force Academy, and it will be like a physical test, but also a way for all of the cohort to strengthen the team spirit, and also for you to learn this kind of techniques that will be useful for you in the future. So, and this is something that will be, and it makes all the sense to happen in the beginning of the program. So, and then we have two immersive experiences, one in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, with our partnership with the University of San Francisco. And it will be like a 1-week immersive experience in the most important and the biggest entrepreneurial and innovation hub in the world. It's usually one of the high points of the program, and we want to maintain this. It's becoming really important for us. And then we came up with this different kind of immersive experience, not in Silicon Valley, but in Lisbon. For those that don't know what is happening in Lisbon, Lisbon is becoming, and it's not just Web Summit, and it's not just this kind of new unicorns. So this kind of startups, well, with more than $1 billion dollars valuation, the ecosystem in Lisbon is becoming highly dense, really organic, fast growing, and becoming global. So it will be really interesting for all of you to know what is happening in Lisbon, where you are taking your own MBA. So, and we have a partnership with the Startup Lisboa, but you will be able to visit like global corps, tech corps, founders, startups, incubators, accelerators, this new kind of innovative / creative hubs. As we strongly believe, we had the first Lisbon entrepreneurial experience 1 month ago with the current edition that is already that will end in next year. And it was amazing. So we believe this will be one of the highlights of the program currently. And finally, just to explain what are these 5 strategic streams and why they become so important and a really differentiating thing of the program. So we have 5 streams. The first one is what we call global futures. So it's about the exploration of the anticipation of the future, is to think about megatrends, trends, weak signals, wildcards, uncertainties, build scenarios, and then take the best out of those scenarios in order to design new strategies, start an innovation process. So this kind of approach. And here we have the World Economic Forum. So all of you will have a premium and exclusive access to the strategic intelligence platform from the World Economic Forum, and you are going to use it throughout the entire program. And then also a couple of masterclasses from experts from the forum, and also a module that is made by the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, which is one of the most important institutions that work in these foresight, future scenarios and strategy fields. And they are going to make a scenarios and strategy module, and you will have a certification of completion of this course that usually the Copenhagen Institute offers to those that made their own programs. So the second one is all about entrepreneurship and innovation, and we have these 2 immersive experiences that are clearly that touches the heart of entrepreneurship and innovation, Silicon Valley and Lisbon. But also Startup Lisboa will make like a 20 hours module about what is entrepreneurship, what kind of concept, what kind of tools, what kind of methods you should do, or you can use. And then this will be something that you will use in more detail in another module that is called business plan. And then of course in the capstone project, that it's basically a challenge for you to create a new project, a new company, a new business idea, a new business model for a project. So the third stream is about technology disruption, digital transformation, and it's here that we have the partnership with Técnico Lisboa, the engineering school that is based also in Lisbon. And here you can take two things. One is a model on data science for managers. It's not for you to become a data scientist. It's not possible in 20 hours, but it's for you to have this. If you want to be a leader, or if you are a leader already, you need what is happening on the backstage. What is big data? What are these kind of analytics? What is NLP? What is the way that you can use this kind of databases, structured, not structured, and how can you visualize this, and how can you make value out of this? We are in a world that data is everything. It's becoming, it touches the core of every business model. So it's important for you as a leader to know what exactly is this kind of new data data strategy and these new data trends. And also Techni will also give a couple of master classes on virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain, robotics and automation, and eventually other areas that become important for, according to the profile of our cohort for the next edition. And then with company, we'll have a model only on design thinking, strategic design. And the Volkswagen SDC will offer an immersive experience in their own headquarters that they have in Lisbon. And they will explain how they are working in this kind of agile method and approach with this kind of squads in the design and development of these new services and concepts in the digital space for a big automaker like Volkswagen. The last strategic stream is about one of the most hot topics today, which is sustainability, climate change, SDGs, now Glasgow, eventually what we can expect and take out of this Glasgow conference. And also something about ethics and governance. So it's the last, but one of the most important, in particular for ISEG, it's one of the areas, finance, sustainable finance, and all of these is becoming one of the most important areas also in our faculty. So it will be something really important for us. And we try to bring all of these. So I'm not going to explain in more detail in each one of these. You have access in our brochure and also in our digital documentation that you have access throughout our site. You will have access to all of these in all of these details. So I'm not going in this take more time on this. You can see here. So basically what I was explaining, the stream number 3, the digital disruption, technology, all of this technology and digital disruptions, design and agility, sustainability and governance. And this is just an image of the way that we somehow try to design and to organize the calendar of the program, because we believe that, and we know that we have different kind of activities, different kind of modules, different kind of experiences. So we try to combine these so that you can have a combination of modules that we know that demand a little bit of our workload and a little bit of a study, with things that are more light, are more interactive, more co-creative. So this is the way that we try to combine these in an 18 months calendar. And this is from the last edition, and we need to also, of course, to change this a little bit. And then we have a lot of things happening also during the program that are not just for our participants. So we have a strategic board with more than 20 companies, global companies and Portuguese companies. And what we are doing is creating a network of mentors. So you will be able to, if you want, of course, you will be able to have a couple of mentors that you can choose from. And we have a network of high profile mentors. On this future coalition, we will have like an agenda, what we believe will be an interesting agenda with keynotes and future talks and master classes. for some of you that are somehow deciding just to focus on the program, there are a couple of companies that offer internships or projects that you can somehow explore and work with. And then, of course, we will have a couple of business cases, insights, and strategic briefing from real companies that are somehow what we call corporate partners of our program. And this is it. So I will just close my presentation and see if you have any questions. So we have a couple of questions. So one of these that we have on our site, on our chat, is how is the evaluation? So as you understand, we have different kind of evaluation models depending on the curricular units. So basically, we have the majority. So some of these, it's the evaluation process is very light because of the nature of these modules. So everything that we are talking on strategic streams, on the leadership and personal development. So basically it's a very how can you say, is essays or light approaches to evaluation. On the core courses is where we have a more traditional approach to evaluation in a combination of individual essays, working groups, and some exams, more traditional exams. To be honest, we believe that the trend will be for these MBAs, and in particular the evaluation model, to become very flexible and not too demanding. But of course, we are offering a degree, and we need to be really rigorous in the way that we make the evaluation of each one of these models. But it's clear for us that it's much more about the experience. It's much more about the interaction. It's much more about the way that you can co-create and you can learn as a process, and not the specific moment that you are going to have an evaluation. So there is a different kind of approaches, different kind of methods of evaluation, but the trend is this one that I was explaining here. So another question from Miguel. I travel a lot. Can I attend the classes online? Well, this is an important question. So we have the capability, because of the pandemics, during this last edition. So the first one that was already ongoing when the pandemic hit us. Then the other one that's starting during the pandemic, and now the edition that just started on September. We went from the program is presential. We went from a full presential program to a hybrid approach, in which we had to a completely online approach and program, to a more hybrid. And then we are becoming also, now we are becoming again as a presential program. Well, we have the capability to offer some kind of hybrid approach. So if there is a moment in which you have a flight, or you have you are abroad, you can attend the program, but it should not be frequent. So the program is a presential one. We have the technology that allows you in some moments to attend in an online. The experience when we have people in the classroom and people attending online, it's not perfect, as you can imagine. So when people are attending online, they are just looking to the slides, listening to the teacher, but it's very difficult to have like a full experience, like if it was presenting in the classroom. So we have this possibility, but at least for now, because we are in a very changing world, but at least for now, the program is clearly presential. But we offer the possibility for people that are just traveling or have like specific business activities abroad to attend online. I hope this answered the question that was posed by Miguel. So there is João is asking, is the homework workload well distributed to make use of Thursday and Friday evenings for the same amount of hours as the courses? Well, I'm not sure if I understand the question. This is a more, João, if you have, this is more specific question. I'm going to ask you because I really don't want to take this to a much longer period, but you can just ask these kind of issues and questions directly to me, to Natasha Nazarali. Some of you, I believe, I already met her. Some of you, we are already having, and we had some interviews. So we have this kind of already a number of people just making the application, having interviews. So if you have these kind of questions more specific, I just ask you to go directly to us. We have this open communication channel completely available for all of you. And I think that it's more easier for me and for Natasha to answer this kind of more specific questions. Let me see what we have also here on the chat that I can also, okay, so it was Miguel just making, thank you. Okay, I think that we can close the, okay, so Miguel asked another question. So I'm 51, I'm a valid candidate. Oh yes, you are. I'm 52, and we have people from, well, something that is really interesting. We don't have this is an executive MBA, and of course it's more for people that have experience in a work experience, professional experience. But we want to have a very diverse, and we have a very diversified cohort of people in this program. So we have people that are just very young, 20-something. They have just started a new company, or just they are founders of startups. And also people that has much more experience, people with 50 or even 60 years old that want to know more, that want to have this kind of a skills that gives them this more complete profile as professionals. So totally there is no limit of age, and 51, to be honest, is an amazing age to make an MBA or any kind of educational program. Okay, speaking more on Iba Shakir, speaking more on sustainability and governance. Will the program touch on circular economy at all? Yes, we will touch in all of these topics. So the stream of sustainability, it's the stream that we are going to touch in all of these areas, from climate change to circular economy to financial sustainability. And other areas we want to make, and we want this stream to grow. We want to also to bring experts and partnership in these areas that eventually will be already available for the next edition. We are just working with the different kind of institutions. As you saw, we have partnerships in all of these streams. We are just closing a couple of partnerships in this sustainability stream, but we have a couple of an important model that was curated by Sofia Santos, someone with a huge experience in Portugal and also international. So you can expect the program to touch in all of these critical key topics that relates in a broader sense to sustainability. So thank you so much. I really need to close. So feel free to ask any questions, to get in touch with us. You know that we can arrange a couple of calls. You know that we even for the next steps, and you can make the application online and then take the next steps. This MBA's application process is something that takes a little bit of time, although we want to close the first batch of applications for the next month. So we have these moments of groups of applications that we want to close. So feel free to ask anything, and we have this kind of really open communication approach with all of you. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and see you next time. Bye-bye.